So, welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here tonight at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. It's our Wednesday
Oh,
night
I
midweek
know. Okay.
Oasis service, and it is our first Wednesday night in the new year 2022. And I'm looking to make sure on my calendar I'm saying that right. Does anybody else have that problem where they write a check and still write 2021 or yeah, it seems to be, it's a wonder. Sometimes I write 1989 and I don't know where it came from. It was a very good year though. With that in mind, it's going to be a very good night. So welcome to our Wednesday night service, church family. Why do we call it Oasis? Well, it's a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. We present our Wednesday night services in what we call at OCSL our version of satsang, where we have a speaker come in and speak on the subject of the month or of the week or of the day and make a presentation for us. And then we have an intimate, informal, and rich discussion. That's our plan for tonight. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So we have a brand new year, and it's not 1989, I can guarantee you that. But we have a new annual theme and a monthly theme. And I introduced it last Wednesday, and Reverend Jerry introduced it from the pulpit on Sunday. And so our annual theme is Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. And our monthly theme for January is Living Everyday Wonder. So you're joining us for the first time. We welcome you. We encourage you to sign up to get our newsletter on our homepage of our website in the lower left-hand corner. You can submit your email address and you'll get our once a week newsletter, that the Village News, which will show you and tell you about all the things going on and all the Zoom accesses and what's in person and what's not. Lots of great information if you'd like to stay better connected with us. Speaking of connection, we ask that if your camera or microphone is on right now, we ask that you turn it off, your microphone and your camera. That way it will preserve our transmission. So we appreciate that. If not, our Zoom team will do it from behind the scenes, nothing personal. It just makes things flow a little bit better. I encourage you to stay to the end of the program. We have a special and important announcements to share with you related to all the things that are going on here at the center. It's good information to know. Sometimes you hear it first on Wednesday nights. So sometimes it's a surprise, but the main thing is we will be reading the covenant for calling in our new senior minister, and that is now a ritual on Sunday as well as on Wednesdays. Living Everyday Wonder seems to be the theme of the month, and it's the theme that everybody is speaking on this month. Every introduction I'm making tonight for future speakers, they are all grasping onto that idea. So I'm excited to hear what our speaker tonight is going to speak about that. Wonder. It's a great, great topic. So our speaker tonight is practitioner and ministerial student Alena Hutchinson. And Alena, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Thank you for your meditation. And we're going to turn the program over to you. Let's welcome Alena, everyone.
So let's start with an opening prayer. Let's just settle again and take a couple of deep breaths. There is only one presence, one power. There's one beingness, one source of light and love that has sprinkled the stars across the skies, that holds our hearts in its hands. It is our very breath. It's the mind with which we think. It is that divine wisdom and divine order that holds the entire matrix of creation, all of it, in perfect harmony, perfect balance, Beyond all the jangly parts that we see every day, there is that amazing, astounding, perfect divine order that is the source and substance of everything that we see around us. I am that, and I know that is true of every person on this call, every person who hears the sound of my voice. We are each just at one unique manifestation, one point in time and space where spirit is showing up to express itself, to have a unique experience as us. I bless this evening. I bless the coming together of these individuals, of everyone who listens to us later. I know that whatever the gathering is, it is perfect, that everyone who is here is who needs to be here, that every word that's spoken and heard is exactly what needs to be spoken and heard. And I just bless this coming together in unity. So it is. So, moving into our talk, as Paul said,
Alena, could you speak a little bit more loudly? This is Karen speaking.
okay, I will
Thank
try
you
to
so
get
much.
closer.
Sorry for the interruption.
That's okay. Uh, as you know, as Paul said, our theme for CSL for 2022 is Living Everyday Wonder, and that's also our theme for tonight. We're invited to explore throughout this year the concept of wonder in 11 different areas of our lives, one for each month after this month. Wonder in our inner life, in our body, in our relationships, at work, and at home. CSL Spiritual Director, Reverend Edward, has written a letter to the CSL community explaining that we are to explore what it means to live everyday wonder by seeing everyday experiences through a spiritual filter. To find ourselves in a place where you don't have to wait for something spectacular or rare to inspire you, where you find wonder in your backyard or on the bus or talking to a neighbor. Rachel Naomi Remen, author, let me get back to my talk here, author of the book Kitchen Table Wisdom, describes an experience that one of her UCSF colleagues had with everyday wonder. It had to do with the birth of a baby. Now, you might think that being present at the birth of a baby would be a pretty profound experience, not an everyday experience. But for this doctor, an ER physician who had delivered hundreds of babies under emergency conditions, the birth was just part of his normal workday until it wasn't. The mother had come in so close to delivery that the actual birth happened in the ambulance bay. It all went well. The baby was fine. The doctor was holding her on his arm and suctioning her nose and mouth. And then the baby opened her eyes and looked at him, looked intently at him. And he suddenly realized that he was the first person that this child had ever seen. In that moment, his identity as a doctor fell away, and he simply became a human being on behalf of all of us, welcoming this new human being to the planet. Not a spiritual man, he nevertheless described the moment as holy. He wondered how many holy moments he had missed in his life. And he told his colleagues that when he started looking for them, he found them everywhere. The story illustrates how even profound moments can be overlooked, can simply become part of the background of our experience. The counterpart to that is that very small things, as small as a drop of dew on a leaf, can be the doorway to a profound experience of our connection to the vastness of the universe, to a realization of our oneness with all that is. Scientists who have studied wonder say that when we are paying attention, we do tend to experience wonder on a regular basis, apparently on average twice a week, and that some people are more awe-prone than others. So that's the invitation from CSL this year. Can we all become more awe-prone? I know that I started thinking about this topic and wondering what could you say about wonder that could fill 20 minutes? And then I realized it was the topic for the whole year. But in the course of researching it, I have fallen in love with the whole concept of wonder, with its connection to our teachings, with the possibilities it holds for deepening our connection to spirit. And I'm kind of hoping that you'll fall in love with it too over the course of the next 12 months. So later this evening, I'm going to ask you to recall a time when you felt wonder or awe. So I'm inviting you, as you listen to this talk, to just let that be bubbling up in the background. Since we're tonight setting the tone for the whole year, or this week setting the tone for the whole year, I thought we should start with considering what wonder is or what it's not. In the literature, people often speak of two emotions interchangeably, wonder and awe. They're different, but related. Someone has referred to awe as wonder's bigger cousin. I think of it this way. Awe is a lightning bolt that comes crashing down from the sky and splits 100-year-old tree in half right in front of you. It's hiking in a national park and hearing something in the distance, only to turn a corner and see and hear and feel thousands of tons of water flowing over a waterfall, and having that sheer roaring power take your breath away. Wonder, on the other hand, wonder is pouring cream in your coffee and noticing how beautiful the swirls are, how they change from moment to moment, how they remind you of patterns in nature, puffy clouds on a sun-drenched day, or clear, sparkling water swirling past sun-dappled rocks in a stream, how they carry you from one moment of beauty to another. That's wonder. So what we're focusing on this year, what CSL thinks will serve us, is not awe, not those rare, overwhelming, uninvited, transcendent events, as much as wonder, the experience of these tiny, awe-like moments in the quieter spaces of everyday life. The awe experiences we don't have to wait for or hope for, but can actually invite in. So as we talk about wonder and awe, remember that the practice we'll be focusing on in the next year is actively inviting in those small experiences of wonder. For a few minutes, we're going to contemplate wonder, not just say, oh yeah, wonder, I know what that is, but take a deep dive into it. In other words, we're going to do with wonder what wonder asks us to do with the world. Slow down, forget what we think we know, not be content with glossing over the word, but actually engaging with the emotion itself, as if for the first time. Like looking at the swirls in our coffee and realizing we may have seen swirls in coffee before, but we have never seen these swirls before. We have never experienced this beauty before. CSL isn't the only place we're seeing a particular interest in wonder these days. When I started to surf the internet looking for information about this, the phrase I saw over and over again was the new science of wonder. Apparently, over the last 10 years or so, a number of psychologists and neuroscientists have become very interested in what Berkeley psychologist Dr. Keltner calls this little studied emotion. This combination of surprise, curiosity, joy, heightened consciousness. They've become increasingly aware of the incredible benefits that accrue to us from experiences of wonder and awe. And as we talk about their findings, I'm going to invite you to think about the connection between what they're discovering and our own teachings of science of mind. According to the researchers, there are two factors that distinguish awe or wonder from other positive emotions. The first has to do with what triggers feelings of awe. Those things often have an element of complexity and vastness. Now, vastness here is defined really broadly. It can involve something much larger or more powerful than what we're used to, or it can be much more intangible. Uncommon beauty, or an unexpected act of dedication, skill, courage, or generosity. The second factor has to do with how our brains react to it. Awe-inducing phenomena don't quite fit into our existing mental models. They challenge our concept of ourselves and our understanding of the world around us. They force us to adjust our mental maps and our beliefs, our habitual thought patterns, in order to accommodate what we just experienced. This is why we often describe these events as mind-blowing or earth-shattering. And this is why small children exist in an almost perpetual state of wonder. They are constantly encountering things that are new to them and surprising. And with each surprise, they're forced to create a new mental model of the world. Moments of wonder are similar. Instead of the universe shattering our normal mindset and demanding that we pay attention to its vastness and its beauty, it waits for us to notice those small openings through which we can connect with that vastness if we're paying attention. Scientists are also discovering what the actual experience of wonder is. How does it feel in our bodies? First of all, we don't smile like we do with other positive emotions. We raise our eyebrows, widen our eyes, let our jaws drop, take in a sharp breath. Our attention becomes focused on the present moment and time seems to slow down. This is our body telling us something new is happening here. On a physical level, all of those reactions actually enhance our visual perception. They manage our physiological arousal. In other words, it's preparing us to rewire our brains. Often we get goosebumps. Recently, one blogger, the owner of a horse farm, wrote about that phenomenon. A year into my house arrest during COVID, I began to see what a moment on a farm can provide, a return to the path of beauty. I had no idea that the slow erosion of awe in my life had even happened until one of our horses fell asleep in the afternoon sun with her head against my chest. When I realized that my goosebumps were my body's response to this intimate moment, I teared up quietly, and I allowed the moment to have its tender way with me. What else was there to do? Goosebumps are only part of the story. After an experience of awe or wonder, activity decreases in what scientists call the brain's default mode network. You may never have heard this term before, but you know that part of your brain. It's the mental chatter you have a hard time stopping when you try to meditate, or that's kind of running in the background all day. Experiences of awe quiet our mental chatter. Our stress level goes down. There are actually fewer interleukin-6 molecules in our system afterwards, the molecule that's related to stress and inflammation. We're forced to think in new ways and our thinking becomes more creative. Our emotions shift to a greater sense of well-being and life satisfaction, to an increase in what psychologists call pro-social emotions, such as a greater desire to help others and to be generous, and more gratitude. Overall, we feel more connected to others. Scientists even note a process called unselfing. After experiencing moments of awe or wonder, participants in studies represent themselves in drawings and photographs as much smaller than they did before that experience. Their perspective has changed from focusing on themselves to seeing themselves as part of something much larger. And often we are inspired to action. Just as John Muir's experiences of wonder in the Sierra Mountains inspired him to create the Sierra Club. What I'm hearing here is that awe puts us solidly in the now. Clarity, peace, creativity, joy, gratitude. oneness, a sense of power that impels us to action, or as we say in Science of Mind, to not just treat, but move our feet. Clearly, if an experience of wonder has so many benefits, we don't want to wait for those rare moments when the universe gobsmacks us with its majesty. We want to look for it. So how do we cultivate wonder? Scientists tell us that 3/4 of the time we experience it in nature. Makes sense. There are many practices that can foster a sense of wonder. You can seek out beauty in great art and music, look for examples of genius and mastery, or acts of uncommon generosity and kindness. You might look at the ordinary things around you, your watch, an avocado, and consider for just a moment what it took for that object to take form and to find its way to you. Videos and even memories of awe experiences offer many of the same benefits. So you can create your own personal playlist of music, visual images, or memories that inspire wonder. Since wonder naturally tends to inspire gratitude, you might even shift your gratitude practice this year to a wonder practice. Scientists do say that our ability to experience wonder increases with practice. Who knew? One activity that is suggested is an awe walk. Walking not to get somewhere or for exercise, but just walking for a few minutes with the intention of experiencing wonder. Slowing down is helpful. Apparently in Paris in 1839, the arcades was the place to be, and it was quite fashionable to take very slow walks around the arcades. The slow pace was enforced by walking accompanied by a turtle on a leash. I know, I didn't believe it, but I Googled it and apparently it was a thing. Another source of wonder is spending time with children and seeing this constantly new and surprising world through their eyes. The conservationist Rachel Carson considered her essay, The Sense of Wonder, to be one of her most important life projects, and it resulted from her sharing the wonders of nature with her grandnephew one summer, when she found herself experiencing everything as if it were all new. The takeaway here is that as adults, our minds tend to categorize. We see a tree and think, tree, and then what we actually experience is that idea, the generic concept of a tree, instead of the tree right in front of us. Eckhart Tolle said, when you don't cover up the world with words and labels, a sense of the miraculous returns to your life that was lost a long time ago, when humanity, instead of using thought, became possessed by thought. While Tolle is describing an experience that all of humanity went through, it's also an experience we each go through as we move from childhood to adulthood, as we go from experiencing and interacting with the world around us to experiencing and interacting mostly with our mental constructs of the world. But with intention and mindfulness, you can remind yourself that the rainstorm you see in the distance, the fog rolling over the bay, that strawberry you stole when you were putting the groceries away, the smile on the face of someone you love, or the very colors around you are all things that you are actually seeing for the first time in this very moment. So what I would like to do now, technology willing, is to show two little snippets of video. The first is of a toddler experiencing rain for the first time. Water is falling from the sky. The second is of a middle-aged man who is colorblind and with the help of special glasses is experiencing colors for the first time. The sound might be very low or may not work, but what I would particularly like you to notice is the body language. So let's try this and see if it works. So Paul, maybe you can tell me if you can see this. Are we sharing?
I can see
Yeah,
it.
it's a little kid.
All right.
My wonderful.
Them.
All right. And there's one more. Let's see if we can get to that one.
How does it look?
Oh, that's weird.
Look at the balloons. Can you see with our eyes now, baby? What colors you see?
Those.
You see colors now?
Oh, the trees are neat.
Now you have rose-colored glasses,
Saw them
baby.
before. Oh.
So there we go. Again, the body language. This guy clearly was about 2 years old in that moment. You can see it in his body. You can see that wonder is a whole body experience, a whole person experience. It engages us on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. Since we are calling in a new minister this year, specifically to embody the principle of wisdom, I want to leave with a quote from Socrates. Wonder, he said, is the beginning of wisdom. You might think that Socrates, being a philosopher, was referring to the verb form of wonder, the intellectual wondering, intellectual curiosity. But no, it turns out those early Greek philosophers were engaging in all kinds of crazy talk back then. Something called being, that was the reality behind everything, that manifested as the physical world, and that was actually our very essence. Apparently, they got run out of town a lot for talking like that. They said that being was not something that could be described. A person had to experience it for themselves. And the method they prescribed for experiencing beingness was to seek beauty in all its forms, in nature, in art, in the orderliness of mathematics, in romantic love. To me, that sounds like letting ourselves be drawn to experiences of wonder. I think when we experience wonder, beauty, awe, it isn't just some abstract quality we're reacting to. We're reacting the way we do because in that moment, something has opened up in us and allows us to experience reality in a new way. For that moment, some sense of separation has fallen away. We're drawn to those experiences because we recognize the beauty, the vastness before us as our own essence. Something has reminded us of who we are and has set up a deep resonance within us between being itself and the beingness at our very core. Scientists say an experience of awe makes us think about our connection to others, to all that is. Science of mind would say that awe is a realization of our oneness with all that is. When awe comes to us uninvited, we treasure those moments and long for them. And how could we not? As the mystic Mechtilde de Magdeburg wrote, how could I resist my nature that lives for oneness with God? We don't have to wait for experiences of awe so mind-boggling that we can't ignore them. We can open the door to those small experiences of everyday wonder, to the beauty that is all around us in all its forms. As Rumi said, there are 1,000 ways to kneel and touch the ground. And in every day, there are 1,000 openings where Spirit is just waiting, inviting us in, longing to show itself, to be seen, to be felt. We can make that choice to slow down, to pay attention, or in the words of William Blake, to see the world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower, to hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. So before we move into our discussion period, I'd like to do a couple of minutes of silence, and I invite you to let your mind wander for a moment to a time in your life when you may have experienced awe or wonder. Think about what triggered it, but mostly think about, what did you see or hear, taste? What did you smell or feel? And what impact did it have on you? And how do you feel as you think about it now? So just a minute or so. Okay, so I'd like to open it up for sharing, and maybe we can do gallery view. I'd like to open it up to anyone sharing whatever they want to on this topic. If you want to share one of those moments of awe, I would ask you to share maybe in a particular way, which is give us the background briefly and then really talk about what your experience was and what you took away from it, what the impact was. So I'm going to go to gallery view so I can see all of you. There we go.
And if you wish to share, we ask that you raise your hand like this, or use your reactions button to raise your hand down there like that. And Peter and Peggy are our moderators tonight and will recognize you to help Alena. Okay?
Tricia, unmute, go ahead.
Well, Alena, that was astonishing, is all I can say. And boy, what a sense of wonder I got from it. The first thing I can strongly remember when I experienced my first sense of, I'm not sure if it was awe, but it was definitely wonder, is it was Christmas. And I remember it like I'm reliving it. And I was sitting on the floor in front of the Christmas tree, and everybody had opened their gifts from Santa. And I opened my first gift, and it was a box. I think I was 4. I don't know if I said that, but I think I was 4. And my parents gave me a box of Crayolas, but it wasn't the small box. It was the big box. And you know, I can remember just sitting, I feel it right now, sitting there and looking at that multitude of color. And I think I started crying. It was so beautiful. And I almost didn't want to touch them. It was so like sacred, because even at that age, I knew how important color was. And that experience has, it shifted my whole world. And I became an artist. I became an architectural color consultant. And it's the one thing that over and over, that experience, I can relive it and feel that sense of absolute wonder. And man, I'm smiling. I mean, that's what it did to me. And it's like everything else faded into the background. You know, I had 4 brothers and sisters, and there were, you know, parents and grandparents. None of that, everything else just went away, except the box of crayons and me. So I that was my first real sense of wonder that I experienced. And it has taken me all through my life. So
Thank
I'm
you.
complete.
Thank you.
complete.
Yeah, color. I'm reminded I found out my son at one point thought he had seen black and white television, and he thought that the world used to be black and white and color was invented at some point.
Oh,
And I kept thinking, like, what would it be like if the world was black and white and we woke up one day with color? I'm like, oh my God. And yet we just, oh yeah, color.
It's sort of like the Wizard of Oz,
Yes.
where Dorothy
Mhm,
comes
that's
out.
what I thought of.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Shushton.
Justin. Yeah.
Oh, oh, oh my gosh. There was just a flash in the background. Oh my God. Can you put that back? Whoever is in control right now, there was a picture of a mountain.
Oh, that's Peter's.
Peter, can you put the Matterhorn back up? That's exactly what I want to talk about.
What's there behind me right now?
Yes, yes. This couldn't be more perfect. Oh, I'm shaking. I'll try to make this quick. I went to, oh, now I'm going to cry. I went to Disneyland for the first time when I was 5 years old. And for those of you that have been there is a replica of the Matterhorn, and it's a ride, roller coaster ride. And I went on it with my parents, and I noticed that there were people climbing on the structure, actually exactly like that. And so when I was 5 and found out that that was a real mountain, I told my parents, I said, when I grow up, I'm going to climb, and that it was a real mountain. I said, I am going to climb the Matterhorn. And it took most of my life. But on January 27th, 1976, I set out with a guide, and we had to get up we stayed in a halfway hut right at the base of the Matterhorn. And we had to get up at, I think it was 3 o'clock in the morning. And we ate a little bit, and then we packed hot tea in our knapsacks and kept it close to our back, and we set out. And it was physically probably, not probably, it was the most difficult thing I ever did in my whole life. And I flashed back on it many times, of course, but it just hit me today. And I realized that's what I wanted to try to share. Was after I somewhere I have down how long it took me, and the guide. But when we reached the peak of the Matterhorn, the feeling of, now I'm really crying, the feeling of not only accomplishing that, but to be able to look out on the world, from that point, and just the overwhelming feeling of how I felt, not only the wonder, but just in being there. And it's really hard to put into words, but I think, most people can think of something in their life that made them feel like that. But that is by far my biggest wonder, and definitely awe. And the fact that the Matterhorn just appeared on screen right when I raised my hand, it was like, oh my gosh, is that another little message? Oh, so anyway, that's what I wanted to share. And it, okay, that's it.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah,
Thank
There
you.
it is.
we
There
had
it
that
is.
little
I
bit of
was right there.
we had that little bit of
Yeah.
synchronicity, and then you gave us an actual experience of wonder in that moment.
Oh, oh, it's indescribable,
Indeed.
and that it just appeared. Oh,
Alice?
there it is, my mountain. Right
Go ahead,
there.
Alice.
Yeah, I was figuring out how to unmute. So I had this amazing experience today. So I went to the Dr. Dan, meeting that we have every day during the week. And Constance told us about this meditation. But it's called the Wishes Fulfilled meditation.
Hmm.
And so I looked it up on YouTube, and I thought, great. I had a break during the middle of the day. I'll just turn this on and meditate. Oh my God. And so, Wayne Dyer was talking first, and I kind of like fast forwarded a little bit past the talking, because I just wanted to meditate. And it came on, and this music, Constance told us, was, I think it vibrates to the vibration of the earth and the universe. There's something profound like that. So I turned it on. And I probably meditated for, I don't know how long, because it went for a long time, but immediately I felt my body shift, right? And so I did the meditation, and I can hardly believe the state I'm in. It's fabulous. I thought, well, now's a good time to take a walk. The sun's out. So I went outside, and the world looked completely different. And it just blew my mind. And I could still hear the sounds of that meditation for the entire 35 minutes that I walked. And I was so relaxed, and the green looked a different shade of green. I mean, the colors looked different. My whole body just was having this amazing experience. And I knew Alena was going to talk tonight, so I wanted to come and hear what she had to say. And when this topic, I thought, oh, I have to share it with all of you, because this is unbelievable. Whew. So I'm complete. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice.
It really brings the whole science of mind thing about our beliefs create our reality. You're in a different space and you see things differently. I did an exercise in a workshop I used to teach. We would look at a house and label it beautiful house, and it looked beautiful. And then we would close our eyes and label it rundown shabby house, and you'd open your eyes again and you'd see that one of the shutters was kind of falling off and the paint was peeling. It's like
Wow.
our brain filters for what we're looking for. So if we're looking for wonder, we'll
Hmm.
find
Yeah. Maureen, go ahead.
Maureen.
Hi, everybody.
Maureen.
Hi, I'm gonna tell you, I'm emotional today, so, and especially when we're talking about this, but so there's things that I would like to share, that just one of them is like, you know, the times when you like hit the basketball in, you know, feet away and it goes in, like that's kind of like, wow, right? But the one I want to share is something I had just a couple weeks ago. And it involves me sitting in my car and I'm just watching. I'm just in my car, waiting to go into the office or something. And I'm in Oakland, right? And if you guys know, I work for the criminal justice system. And, you know, we've had the George Floyd situation. We've had the awareness of Black Lives Matter. We've had the awareness of, you know, Black men being misappropriated in terms of sentences and things like this, and, you know, Black men being more incarcerated and things like this, right? So I'm in this awareness now, right? And I'm looking out of my car, and a 6'4" beautiful, majestic, gorgeous gladiator warrior of a Black man was walking across the street with his little bitty baby strapped to his chest. And it was the most beautiful, beautiful thing to see. He was smiling. He was happy. He was safe. And it just hit me that not all the time are Black men seen like that. And I got to see that moment. And it was awe, wonder. I don't know what it was, but it was absolutely precious and beautiful. And I rolled down the window and I told him that. So thank you.
Thank you, Maureen.
Another one of those
Robert
moments
Lee.
that could easily be overlooked.
Right.
Robert.
So as Alena, as you were giving your talk, first of all, I really like the phrase awe prone. And as you were talking, it also at a point, it made me think of what they talk about in Zen Buddhism as beginner's mind.
Yeah.
That, you know, we have these perceptions available to us all the time, and you can hear it just from people's stories. It's like it's always just waiting to be discovered. And it's really just about kind of like, you know, shifting our perspective. But I just want to mention one quick moment of awe, or yeah, I would maybe more awe than wonder. This was back in the mid 80s, and I spent almost a year traveling through Europe, and I was in the English countryside on a 10-day meditation retreat, learning Vipassana meditation. And it was very strict. There was no talking. We would, go to bed early and get up the monks would come around with their gongs at 4 o'clock in the morning to wake us up to meditate. We would spend like, 8 hours a day meditating. But in like partway through the meditation retreat, I woke up in the middle of the night and needed to use the restroom. And it was at a school. So we were sleeping in the classrooms, just in sleeping bags. And I had to go outside to go over to where the restroom was. And I walked outside, it was middle of the night, and I just happened to glance up. And we were in the, like I said, in the English countryside. So there was not a lot of ambient light. And the stars were just unbelievable. And I almost literally fell over. I mean, it just like completely overwhelmed me, just the sight of these stars. And especially like one of the things you mentioned, Alena, there were like no labels. I was just seeing the stars with no labels. And it was just an amazing experience. Just like I said, almost knocked me over. That's my story.
Whole body experience.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robert. Right.
TC.
TC, go ahead.
No.
So yeah, unmuting. Many years ago now, I had the chance to swim with dolphins. And this was at a research facility. So it's not like we were out in the wild, but it was just astonishing. And we were in the pool and they put life vests on us. So we were bobbing at the top so the dolphins could swim around, and they would stop and let us pet them. And it's just an astounding experience to be with these sea creatures that have so much happiness. And, I've got a few pictures that they took, and the word that comes to mind is glee. It was just so gleeful to be like around these creatures, and they were swimming and they were, amazing, and petting them and just touching their skin. And it was a sensation that I've never felt in any other context. I was expecting it to be sort of like a basketball, but it wasn't, because it's a live animal. And so, it's not a static thing. It's sort of like if you touch your own skin, there's give, right? So I wasn't really expecting the give of their skin. And it was just astonishing.
Yeah, that experience of like getting out of what we expect and actually experiencing something different.
Yeah, I 1,000% want to do that again at some point. I'm complete.
Thank you, Barbara.
Hello.
Hey.
I've had some amazing experiences in my life. I've had a really incredible life, but I have to say that I experience awe and wonder almost every day with these little things that happen. Today, I was seeing patients in my upstairs office, and I looked outside the window, and I have this big maple tree outside the window that I've just been basically during COVID watching change through the seasons. And I realized, day by day, I see patients, I look outside this maple tree, and I realized today all the leaves were gone from the tree. And this is the tree that is usually full of leaves and so vibrant and green, and all the leaves were gone. I didn't realize. When did that happen? When did all the leaves just drop off? And it's bare. It really is winter, and it just happened. And it's just a feeling of awe and wonder that life just continues through this cycle on. And it's just, life itself is wonderful. And I have to say that the experience of birth and death of all kinds fills me with awe and wonder. probably the biggest experience of awe and wonder I had was the birth of my daughter. It was incredible. It was a miracle to have life come from my body and be a living person breathing this, and the heart opening that occurred was just awesome. I mean, I don't even think there's words to describe the love I felt for this being. And then this weekend, I'm going to the celebration of life of my brother-in-law, Tom. And just the fact that he was alive and now he's not in his body. I mean, that is weird and awesome. And that life continues in a non-physical form. I mean, what the hell is that? That is just like weird, and it's so weird that it's awesome.
You're talking about, real death and real birth, and yet just looking at a tree and not seeing tree, but I mean, you manage to look at it and see and get connected with the entire order of the universe.
Exactly.
Cycles of life and everything.
Right. It's life itself is awesome.
Yeah. We're probably running out of time unless someone else has something they desperately need to say. And if not, I'm gonna, I think, turn it over to Paul.
Well, before we always have plenty of time for appreciation. So we're going to make time to appreciate Alena on a most excellent and awesome Wednesday night discussion and talk. Everybody show your appreciation. I hope you see all that, Alena. Yahoo, thank you. Thank goodness we have it recorded. It was just jam-packed with awesome things.
No, not yet, no.
Beginning to end, wonderful.
I agree. Thank you, Dr. Judith. So thank you, Alena. So I have some announcements. And then if all goes well and Paul starts the year off right, he'll remember that we're going to close in prayer after I've got everything in big red letters. So it'll be an awesome experience for me to get through the program. But I do have some announcements, and they're important. So please follow along. Thank you, Dr. Barbara, for showing the PowerPoint. On Sunday, January 9th, Reverend Savannah Riker will be speaking on Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. So join us physically and in person in the sanctuary, or watch the service live on live stream or YouTube this coming Sunday. We have in-person meditation at 10 a.m. and the service starts at 10:30. Please know that if you'll be joining us on Sunday in person, everyone is required to wear a mask inside all of our buildings, and we will be practicing social distancing. So I have an update to our COVID compliance items. And due to the recent rise in the spread of Omicron, the variant Omicron, the compliance team has agreed to implement the following protocols for OCSL members and visitors attending indoor activities, in addition to the established safety protocols we already have in place. Effective immediately, cloth masks will need to have an extra layer of protection by using a surgical mask over the cloth mask. We will provide you with that if you need one. We are highly recommending the fully compliant K95 and N95 masks that are available. These are completely acceptable and much better in keeping us safe, and they are recommended in lieu of cloth masks. Effective Sunday, January 16th, a week from this Sunday, all of our attendees for our indoor services and events, both adults and children over 5 years old, must show proof of current vaccination status. If you're not currently vaccinated, we have an alternative with live stream for you to watch. So those are things we need to implement right now to keep everyone safe. Next Wednesday, January 12th, practitioner and ministerial student Teresa Gardner will be delving deeper into our monthly theme of Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. Meditation at 6:30 and service at 7. Wednesday services are continuing on Zoom. Social distancing and masking is not required on Wednesday nights, so please join us. Big annual event. The Vision Board Party will be held Saturday, January 15th, 2022, both in person and by Zoom. This is hosted by Deborah Jackson. It's one of our largest and most sought after events of the year. We're only allowing 30 people to be in person. However, it will be a hybrid event where there will be Zoom and in person. Registration is now open. So if you want one of those 30 slots, you need to register soon. If you want to join by Zoom, you also need to reserve that kind of attendance. And all of that is on our events page of the website. So please follow along with me right now. I'm asking you not to read it on the microphone, just follow along. And we're going to read our new minister sacred covenant prayer. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to reveal spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as wisdom. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by Spirit. For it is written, I am filled with divine wisdom. I allow divine mind to fill my mind now. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unity in the community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspiring unity in diversity, embracing and nourishing our community. I am awakening the wisdom within. I am healing and expanding our community with the power of love. I am engaging the community in building a world that works for everyone. I am deepening family consciousness. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they are revealed in a way that illumines spirit and serves the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious. And so it is. Ashe. So thank you for joining with me and anchoring that prayer. A couple of things I need to be thankful for in addition is all of you being here. We're so grateful that you're here, and we're grateful for the gifts that you give to the center, both in time, treasure, and talent, all three of those. So recite with me our affirmation prayer. This give, I give, is God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses creation. And so it is. So how can you donate to the center? Well, we have 5 ways. Through the webpage, you can use the credit card, or you can use the old-fashioned mail version. That still works. For those that are a little bit more trendier and awesome with technology and the wonder of it all, you can text an amount to 510-327-3431. And we also have the financial service of Zelle, where you can Zelle your donation to giving@oaklandcsl.org. And when you attend in person in the sanctuary, we have offering baskets to receive your gift. So I receive your gift tonight in this digital offering basket and pass it to everyone on the call. And I receive your gift. I'm grateful for it. We are grateful for it because the work that that money does keeps our center alive and vibrant. And it goes out through these gates into the world and does wonderful things. So we thank you for your donation. I'm also thankful for some folks that make this show run real well. It's not easy to make me look good and sound good. Trust me, it takes a whip and a piece of raw meat to get me teased into action. That's for sure. So we want to thank Alena tonight for speaking and doing the meditation. Also, our anchor, spiritual guidance, everything that's just so awesome and wonderful. And she is full of wonder. Our acting senior minister, Reverend Jerry Carter, is here tonight, always on Wednesday nights. We love you. Thank you for being here. Close to my heart is the AV team working in the background, and it's a big team tonight because we have some new members trying things out. I want to thank our host up in Portland, Peter. I see you up there. Thank you for leading us tonight. Dr. Barbara on the PowerPoint, the ever ready, always present spotlighting Queen Alice. Thank you, Alice, so much. Peggy is in the background with the new folks, bringing them in, shepherding them in to teach them. I don't know why they try them out on me, because I guess if I don't scare them away, they'll stay, right? That's how the game is played. So we want to welcome Trisha and Helene in the background doing some action for us. John, I know you're out there. We want to thank you so much for filling in for Constance and keeping us all in order while she's away. So thank you, John. And my moral support, Zoe DeMuro, always present, always willing to do anything that needs to get done. He backs me up on everything. I'm grateful to all of these people in this team. So thank you all for joining us tonight. And right now, Alena, if you would you close us out in prayer?
I will. And first, for just a second, I'm going to share my screen because you just can't miss this. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Okay.
Take two.
I'll get there. I really will. Hold on. Share screen. It's still not working. Ah, I know why. No, it just won't cooperate.
Oh, don't give up.
It was just an adorable little picture. I don't know if it's going to work at all. We'll try one more time.
Okay.
There it is.
There we go.
Amen. Leave that up for a minute.
This is what we're aiming for. I'm going to leave that up while I pray us out. So there is that one beingness, that one source of beauty, that one source of awe and wonder. It is Spirit calling to us to see it, to feel it, to be it. It is there in every moment if we simply pause, quiet, open, slow down. And there it is, ready for us to experience. And I know that we will carry this feeling of being inspired by these pictures, by these videos, carry this feeling with us into our daily lives, looking for those moments of awe and wonder that can only impact not only us, but everyone around us. I bless this gathering tonight, this coming together as we share our individual moments of awe and wonder, which are simply the universal experience of awe, of spirit. We are so grateful. And so I speak my word into the law, knowing that it can only respond to our intentions, and our intentions for this night, this year, are to find wonder everywhere. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you again, Alena. Thank you all. So if we can stop the recording, that would be great.
Okay.